Hey guys, welcome to the MangaMark channel. Today I am having, theories, thoughts, questions about One Piece going into the time skip. If you're new to the channel, that's where I am. I've been watching One Piece on the channel and the next episode we're going to watch is going to be a 2-year time skip. The last episode, obviously, Luffy went off with Rayleigh. Everyone else in the crew are on their islands, about to, settle in for 2 years. So I'm very excited to see where it's going to go, right? But this is the perfect time to have this kind of video to just give my thoughts. Some of the things I'm going to talk about today will be predictions. Some things, like theories, things like that. Other than that, it will be just questions I have. I'm going to put out questions and just, say them out loud so that you guys have an understanding of where my thought process is at this point in the story and the things that I'm curious about, the things that I've been thinking about, the things that I want to know going forward. Because there's going to be some things where I don't know, like I don't have a theory or a prediction for it. But I just want to give my feelings on it, and just, like I said, let you guys know where my head's at, right? So that's what we're here to do today, right? To just talk about the series and what's going to happen. Also, I got a suggestion for a video to do like my favourite gags or like recurring jokes and that from One Piece. I didn't think I'd be able to get make a full video out of it. So what I'll do is, at the end of this video, I will discuss my favourite jokes, gags from One Piece. Like what are my favourite ones, that I can remember. From the series. I'll talk about that, right? But yeah, let's get into the thoughts first. Let's get into how we're feeling about this time skip, right? Because I think that the best place to start to talk about is and the thing that we're probably going to get answered right away is what I'm hoping for or what I want to see from the crew after the time skip, right? So obviously when it comes to the monster trio, when it comes to Luffy, Zoro and Sanji, the good thing about them is they're all training with an absolute badass right now, right? All three of them are under the mentorship of just, people we love. Obviously we like, maybe not on a personal level with Mihawk, but he's a badass, right? We know that Mihawk is a badass, but we have grown to love Ivankov. We know that Ivankov will take good care of Sanji. We know that Rayleigh will take good care of Luffy, right? Now, what I really want to see from all three of them is Haki, right? We know it's guaranteed that Luffy's learning Haki, right? Luffy is learning Haki because of Rayleigh giving the explanation on Haki and about Luffy, using it a couple of times and stuff, and he is specifically going to teach that to Luffy. But you've got to assume, Mihawk and Ivankov surely know Haki, right? I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to certain characters, but if, everybody on Amazon Lily can use it, we've seen how strong Ivankov is. Mihawk's a no-brainer. He's the best swordsman in the world, right? It'd be crazy if he couldn't use Haki, right? But you think of Ivankov. Ivankov proved himself time and time again how much of a badass he was, going up against some of the strongest people in the series. So you'd think Ivankov could use Haki, right? So hopefully that's what I want to see. I want to see those three learning it. I don't expect the rest of the crew to learn about Haki. Because I don't know if, maybe Robin could learn about it. Because she's going to be with the Revolutionary Army, and you'd think maybe Dragon. Maybe Dragon could, maybe teach her about it. But, that's where we are. And what I'm most looking forward to seeing is when they come back, obviously they're going to have new, Luffy always comes up with new fighting techniques and things like that, right? That'd be great to see. I want to see that from all of them, but what I really, really want to see, like, straight away, is Luffy fighting a Logia, right? Ideally, Smoker. I really want to see Luffy going up against Smoker after this time skip. And that's what excites me. It's because every time we've come up against a Logia, we have to, like, we've relied on being either extremely lucky, like with an L, you know, Luffy's Devil Fruit, yeah, like that was just insane. And then with like Crocodile, Luffy had to, you know, 3 attempts, and like even at that it was close, right? So every time a Logia user gets introduced, it feels like a, oh god, right, how do we get round about this situation? Now we have a way. And I just want to see Luffy humble somebody. I want to see Luffy going up against Smoker and seeing Smoker's shock reaction to Luffy being able to actually hit him now. That would be fantastic, right? I want to see that as quick as possible. But other than that, from like those 3, what I want them, and I think this is what's going to happen, is I just want them to be like powerhouses again. Because, like, the East Blue, like, those 3 were the kind of, like, people underestimated them. Probably because they're so young, you know, especially Luffy, because he acts like a kid in that as well. They're very much underestimated. Then when they showed off their power, people were like, oh crap, these guys are insane. I love the way Oda did it, where that gradually slowed down. The fights got tougher in the Grand Line, and then at the end of Thriller Bark, going forward, that was it. We hit a wall, and it was just like, wow, like everybody beyond this point is insane, right? Everybody's insane. When you think about it, you know, Sabode was just a humbling experience, extremely humbling experience. Like, Luffy got a couple of wins in Amazon Lily against like the Snake Sisters and stuff, but like, if Hancock stepped up to actually fight him, that would have been a done deal. Like, and I've like, if anything during the war that was proven how much stronger Hancock is than Luffy, you know, Impel Down again, like we got to the point, and then Marineford obviously, but at a certain stage, like Luffy just became this kid that's been thrown into this craziness, and he just had to rely on like people like Jinbei and Ivankov and Hancock, and to get him through, or just extreme luck and determination to power through against these people that were just too much, you know, just too much for him. So I want to see them just destroying people again. I want to see them come back and just be like, right, okay, this is it, we're back and we're in control again. In terms of with the rest of the crew, like, there's certain ones, I don't know what to expect from Brook. He's the anomaly from this group here. I don't, like, hopefully some new techniques and stuff, that'd be great. Get stronger, perfect, right? Other than that, I don't know where Brook's going, but hopefully it's going to surprise me, right? The rest of them I can kind of predict, but what I want to see, like with Nami, I want to see like new, maybe some new stuff with the climate act. You know, I know that she's learning a load of stuff about the weather and how to be a navigator in the new world and stuff. That's great, but I'd love to see some new climate act stuff, which I'm sure she will learn. I mean, look at where she is. You know, they're going to teach her some great stuff she can use with that climate act. Usopp's on an island that I feel is perfect for Usopp, because what I want to happen to Usopp is to just, you know, become stronger. Just become stronger. I want Usopp to be a badass. You know that way where he's got this reputation as like the liar, right? Noland is a liar. That's what they called him. But Noland was a badass, right? I want Usopp to kind of, you know, aspire to that. You know, to turn his lies into truth. You know, like that way where, you know, that way, like, the stories he would tell to Kaya, and then he actually got to experience it, like, on Little Garden. Things like that. Like, but I want him to, you know, like, Usopp got very much a great character development in Water 7, Enies Lobby, where he accepted his place in the crew, and now I just want to see him grow, you know? And it's great that we, like, the stuff with the plants, that they were talking about, Heracles and stuff like that. That's great, you know, add some stuff to the arsenal. I'd love to see Usopp with some new weapons and stuff. That'd be fantastic. Speaking of weapons, Frankie. That's what I want to see from Frankie. Some crazy new weapons. Just some because obviously it's Frankie. Frankie being left for 2 years in Vegapunk's lab. I mean, come on. We're going to see some great new weapons. Surely. And I love the fact that they blew up the kind of lab that had all the kind of essential day-to-day inventions and found the one that has all like the weapon blueprints and the secret stuff. So, like, I just want to see some crazy stuff from Frankie. You know, like when he was revealing all the things that he created for the Sunny, like the submarine and the Mini Mary and things like that. You know, give me some of that stuff. And then, like, Chopper, obviously he's going to learn a bunch of new medical techniques, but in terms of, like, growth, I would maybe, I don't know, maybe something like a new transformation. Maybe like a new transformation. I know that's maybe stretching it, because he's already past the limits, you know, because I think like a zone devil fruit can do 3 transformations, and with the Rumble Ball he's pushed it to like 7, I think. But I'd like to see that. I'd like to see if it can maybe do something else with that. That would be great. That would be great. Just so that, like, it's great. I'm happy that he's learning all this other medical knowledge and it's going to help us going forward. But I'd love to have like a visual, you know, thing for him to kind of show his growth, kind of thing, you know. And Robin, oh my god, Robin. I don't know what I like. I think from Robin, it's more, I want to find out what she's going to learn from Dragon. I would say out of all the crew, like if you were to give me like a choice and you were to say, right, Mark, right, this 2-year time skip, you can only pick one person from the crew to see what happened in that 2 years. I'd pick Robin. I really want to see what she's gonna talk about with Dragon. That's very exciting, right? So I would love to see her, and like to see her maybe talk to Luffy about meeting Dragon. That'd be great, fantastic. I'd love it if maybe Dragon and Ivan, because we know Dragon and Ivankov are close, so, and they're members of the Revolutionary Army. So I'd love to see them, and we know that they're in contact. So I'd like to see a conversation between them to say, oh, yeah, I've got Sanji from Luffy's crew. Oh, well, I've got, you know, like Robin's, you know, them to do a little bit of dialogue. So, and that Robin and Sanji kind of know where each other are at least, kind of thing. I know we're probably not going to see that because it's a time skip. But, you know, it would be nice to, like, we're obviously going to get information on what they got up to for these 2 years. So I'd like to see that. Right? In terms of the reunion, oh dear. You know, it's going to be Sabodi they meet on, isn't it? Because of the Viva, what was happening with the Viva card again? Yeah, no, Rayleigh left the Viva card with Shaki. Right? That's right. So they're going to meet at Sabodi, they're not going to go to Luffy. Right, okay. So, oh man, that's exciting. Just to see them reunited after this time and everything that Luffy's been through. Oh, I can't wait for that. I cannot wait. Now, the problem that we have, and the thing, right, let's talk about this guy. Right, Kuma. Okay? What's going on with Kuma? This is one that I've been thinking about, where I'm like, what is happening there? Obviously, Kuma's been helping us. Kuma has been helping us a couple of times, right? And we know that he has a connection with Dragon. We know, and we saw from the flashback of that as well, that he was in the Revolutionary Army for a long time, right? Ivankov spoke about it in the war as well, you know? So we know Ivankov, Kuma, Dragon. You know, those are 3 people that we know. Revolutionary Army, they've been doing it for a long time. But, you know, at some point, Kuma has gotten involved with the government. Now, whether that is something to do with the Revolutionary Army, I don't know, but I don't think it would be. Because I don't see, like fair enough, maybe infiltrate the world government, become a warlord, but to have your personality wiped and just become a machine, I don't think it would go that far if it was like an undercover mission, right? And especially like Ivankov's reaction to it, because Doflamingo had to kind of explain what was happening with Kuma. So Ivankov clearly, like, it might have been the fact that Ivankov was in jail, but how much? Because like on the kind of the phone call, Dragon kind of said to Ivankov, "Yeah, I need to explain to you what's happening with Kuma." So Dragon kind of knows what's happening there, but how much does Dragon know? Like, how much is Dragon involved with Kuma after he became a warlord? Is the question, right? But then, to throw another one in there with Kuma, he showed up on Subodi after the war, right? In front of Shaki, Hachi, and like Duval and them. That was the last we saw of Kuma. So what's that about? What's going on there? Why did he go back after he's had his personality taken away? You know, Shaki said, "Oh, he's on our side," but is he? You know, what is he going to do? Because if it was still Kuma, you know, because we saw how much he went out of his way to save us and to let Rayleigh know what he'd done. If it was still Kuma, if he showed up there, I'd think, right, what's he going to do here? Like, he's doing something else to help us. But now I don't know. Like, could the world government have access to his memories and see like where the Straw Hats were, and like be able to tell, like, right, he went to Shaki's bar kind of thing, and they've sent Kuma to, you know, like, my worry is, right, that he's going to be lying in wait for us to come back to the ship, you know, because it's that way. The world government's like, right, we know where their ship is, they're going to have to come back for it sometime, and that's going to be gutting if we have to fight Kuma, you know, because he's quite clearly saved us a couple of times, and he's had good intentions, you know, and he knew what was going to happen to him, because he said it to Luffy when he sent everybody away. He said, "We'll never meet again. You know, this is it." Oh God, it makes me feel bad, but I think that's maybe what's going to happen. I think that Kuma has been sent to, you know, intercept the Straw Hats at the ship. Hopefully, and that would be. I don't want us to fight Kuma, but if it's not his personality anymore, you know, it is what it is. But that would be a good kind of gauge for the Straw Hats to fight Kuma. After what happened on Subodi, for the Straw Hats to come back and see how they handle Kuma, especially after like the end of Thriller Bark and then Subodi as well, we know how strong Kuma is, right? So that would be a good indicator of what they've learned in 2 years. So that's a possibility, right? Now, there's certain characters I'm curious about to be like, right, what is going to be happening with them over the 2 years, right? When you think of like people from the war, you know, like I'm thinking, has Marco become like the leader of like the Whitebeard Pirates? Trafalgar Law, we know that he was very smart in what he did, right? Because the thing about the supernovas The Supernovas were all in the same boat as the Strawhats, where they were not ready for the New World. And we saw that, like when we got glimpses of them all going to the New World, and they all ended up in these crazy places and these situations where they were a bit out of their depth. Law kind of sat back after the war and they went, let's chill, you know, let's let all of them go into the New World while, you know, Blackbeard's on the move, the government sent out the admirals and stuff, and like they're all fighting each other. All these pirates are flocking because of like what Whitebeard did at the end of the war. Let that die down a bit. Let's let that die down a bit and then we'll go in. The One Piece isn't going anywhere. We'll go in after that. Very smart from Law, but it makes me think, what are Law's plans? Why did Law save us? Why did Law save Luffy? You know, I feel like there's going to be something to it. I don't know what it is. You know, but he spoke about D. Right? So does Law know more than he's letting on? Does Law know more about D than we know? That would be good, because I want someone to give me more information about that. You know, they very much teased it when they done the flashback and Roger started to explain it to Whitebeard. So we know Whitebeard heard the truth about all the stuff about the Will of D and things like that. And then it cut away. Oh, I was so angry. I was so angry. They cut away as Roger was telling, you know, Whitebeard the story. I was like, oh, really? Okay, really? But, yeah. So him, like, what's Crocodile up to? What does Crocodile go and do? Like, he's obviously in the New World. We're going to maybe get to see Crocodile again. That'd be great. That would be great, right? I think, right, this is a prediction. Buggy, when we come back after the 2-year time skip, is going to be a warlord, right? I can think of no other explanation as to why the world government would send an envelope to Buggy, and he was quite surprised by it. I think it's going to be an invitation to the warlords, because they were talking about it, and they said they had 3 spaces to fill. So I think they've looked at that, and they've looked at what was discovered during the war, and they went, now wait a minute, this guy was a member of Roger's crew, you know? All these crazy prisoners with high bounties, you know, are following him. He seems to have a connection with Shanks, obviously because of them both being on Roger's crew. He formed an alliance with Whitebeard, even though like Whitebeard, like, but to the people looking at it, they'd be like, oh wow, right, okay, this guy's had some achievements during this war. So I think that is the case. I can't really think of anybody else that could be a warlord. You know, unless it's a supernova. You know, I can't think of any other pirates that would accept the warlord title in those 2 years. Because obviously, like, the ones that they're not going to accept it. Like, Crocodile's not going to become a warlord again. Jimby's not going to become one again. You know, Blackbeard's, you know, he got what he wanted out of that. You know, so I'm thinking maybe during these 2 years, like, the supernovas will all be doing their thing in the New World. Maybe one of them, or 2 of them, would they have become a warlord that quickly though? I remember in like the flashback with Ace, when he was a rookie, he got offered it. He got offered the warlord spot. So, could it be 2 supernovas have become warlords? Or we could even get characters that haven't even been introduced yet. We could get new characters that have become warlords. That'd be cool. Get some new warlords in there. But, you know, I'm thinking out of the characters on the table, one of the supernovas is probably the best bet. If I were to pick one, if I were to pick a supernova that would become a warlord, ooh, I don't know. Because, like, obviously Kid, I feel like, is going to stand out, but I don't think he would take that title. I don't think Kid would become a warlord. Because you think, like, Kid and Law are the standouts. Like, Kid, Law and Luffy are the ones that are the standouts. Obviously, they're not gonna offer Luffy it. Law, I don't. After what happened at the war, probably not. But then again, like they're offering it to Buggy, so maybe they would. But I think it's probably going to be someone else. I think if it is going to be one of the supernovas, I'd maybe say, do you know what? Maybe Drake. Maybe Drake. Actually, because we know that he used to be with the Marines. So that could be a good little fit there for Drake to maybe become a warlord, you know. But out of the ones that are left, I would guess either Drake or Hawkins. Drake or Hawkins, I'd say. Maybe became a warlord, right? Speaking of the supernovas as well, what's going on with Bonnie? What is going on with Bonnie, right? Because it was pointed out to me that I didn't pick up on during the episode was Ake. Obviously, we knew she'd been captured by Blackbeard, and then Ake Inu showed up, right? But Ake Inu said to her, "When I heard you had escaped from the government." What does that mean? That's a strange one because there's something going on with Bonnie, right? There's something more there because we saw her kind of crying during the war and then like having a grudge against someone during the war, blaming someone. So at the time, you'd think that if she's crying, you'd think, right, she must have some sort of connection with Ace or Whitebeard, you know? Because those were the two that died. But why would she have been, like, why would she have escaped the government? Was she a slave like Hancock? I don't know what's going on there with Bonnie. I don't know why, like, I think we need to get some more context on that. But I feel like it's going to be connected. It's going to be connected somehow to why she was crying at the war. But why? Like, why? Because she was shouting and saying that to Ake Inu. So I thought maybe it was Ake Inu she was talking about because he was the one that gave the final blow to Ace. I don't know. Maybe Whitebeard or Ace, or Whitebeard pirates in general, helped Bonnie escape from the government. You know, because we know that Whitebeard, like Jimby held Whitebeard in such high regard because he kind of put Fishman Island under his protection. You know, which makes me think about that as well, because that's where we're going next. You know, we have to go to Fishman Island to get to the New World. So what's happened there? Because Whitebeard has died. So what's happened to Fishman Island? You know? But maybe something like that Whitebeard's done for Bonnie. That's the only thing I can really think of right now that it could be. But I wonder what's going to happen with her then. Is she just like going to be taken back to wherever she was? Like, was she... Because it wouldn't have been Impel Down she was kept in. You know? Because nobody's escaped there. Like, they made it clear it was like Shiki and then what happened with us. So, she's obviously escaped the government somewhere else. Before that, because obviously we met her on Sabode. So, I don't know. Like, it's a strange one. It's a strange one, but is she... Like, so is that it? Is Bonnie captured again? Will we see her again in her travels? Hopefully. Hopefully. I think so, because there's no way that Oda's going to give us these questions, like have these mysteries hanging there and not give us an answer. Like if they gave us like an answer to Laboon's thing all that time later, we just need to be patient. We'll get answers about Bonnie, right? But like Fishman Island, oh, I'm so excited to see Jimby, because Jimby said he would meet us with Fishman Island, right? Now, dream scenario, I would have loved it if Jimby had joined the crew, right? Because Jimby is, like, if there's two people that, well, there's three, sorry, right? Because Vivi, I need to include Vivi in this. Like, if you were to say to me, who would you, like, if you could pick people in the world to join the Straw Hats, it's Vivi, Bon Clay, Jimby, right? You know, Vivi, because of the bond that she formed with the crew and the time that we spent with her and all that was great, right? But Bon Clay and Jimby, more for what they've done for Luffy. You know, obviously the bond's been formed, yes, but my God, like, those guys are just ride or die, you know, just there all the way. And Jimby, I understand, like, obviously, God, he's a warlord, former warlord, and we're going to have to see what the situation is in Fishman Island, you know? And, like, I don't even know if Jimby has an actual crew, you know? We know that he was obviously a member of the Sun Pirates that we've heard about, you know? As was, like, Arlong's crew. I don't know the circumstances of it, you know? With, like, Fisher Tiger, we heard about all that stuff, right? But hopefully we get answers about that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see, like, what the actual story of the Sun Pirates are. And the fact that we're going to Fishman Island makes me believe that we might be getting that, which would be great, right? But I don't know what Jimby's circumstances are now, you know? I'm thinking that he's probably not going to be able to join the crew because Fishman Island has lost Whitebeard's protection. So Jimby's probably going to be there to do that, you know? We'd have to, like, that's what I'm saying, like, it's very much depending on the situation in Fishman Island. You know, like, what's happened over these last 2 years, what's the current situation there. We need to see that, right? But that is the dream. That is the dream, that Jimby joins the crew. Like, that would just be amazing, right? That's my dream scenario. Like, let's go back to Alabasta, get Vivi. Let's break into Impel Down again, get Bon Clay, and then Jimby just joins. That's the dream. But yeah, very interested to see where that goes. You know, we've been waiting to go to Fishman Island for a while. We've been talking about it since Water 7? Yeah, because it was like Kokoro was telling us about it. So we've been waiting for this for a while. So I'd love to see it. You know, I'm just curious to see what it looks like. And to see if there is any connection with Arlong. You know, I'd love to get some more, because I was really hoping we were going to meet Arlong again and Impel Down, but we didn't, because we know that he's been captured, right? Hachi was the only one that got away. He can explain that the rest of the crew got caught. But I'd like to just kind of see the origins of, because we know that we're all in the Sun Pirates. They've all got the symbol. So I would love to see, you know, maybe find out, like, was Arlong maybe a slave? You know? Because they kind of, Hancock explained it, that they got the mark of the sun, which covered up the slave mark, so that nobody knew, like, who was slaves, who wasn't. So if Arlong was a slave, that would explain his hatred towards humans and why he was so kind of, you know, wicked to them. That can maybe explain a bit more about Arlong. But yeah, I hope we get into that. I hope we get into that and we find out more about that. That would be great. In terms of the new world, right? The new world. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to go to the new world, to see what we're going to be going up against. Like, we still haven't seen the other emperors, you know? So, like, Kaido and, I know someone explained to me it's like a translation thing, so is it like Big Mom? M-O-M? Big Mom? I know it's because like Big Mam, but I think people say to me, listen, it's Big Mom, right? So, very interested about that, you know, especially that like there's like a female pirate is like one of the 4 emperors. Very interested to see more about her, because she's been the one that's like barely been spoke about. You know, we've had a little bit, we basically got her name revealed. That was it. You know, Kaido has at least been referenced a bunch of times. You know, with Gecko Moria, and then, you know, he's had run-ins with Shanks and stuff, so we've had his name mentioned a couple of times. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what the new world's going to be like. Like, we saw glimpses of the islands from like the supernovas, but man, I want to see the Strawhats getting thrown into that chaos and just seeing where they end up. Where's the first place we're going to end up in the new world? Very excited to see that, you know? It's that kind of same feeling as when we went to the Grand Line. You know, when you get to the Grand Line, you're like, right, what's the first adventure in the Grand Line kind of thing? So that'll be good, right? That'll be great. God, you know, it's, when you think of like other characters, what do I want? What do I want from the Timeskip? Like, not even just the Timeskip. What do I want going forward in the series in general? You know, I hope that we get information on what, like, not just like the crew, but like other people that I've mentioned, and obviously people like Kobe. You know, because we know that Kobe had like kind of awakened Haki during the war. So I'd like to see how Kobe is after this 2 years, because I'm guessing, you know, he's had a power up as well. And that would be very good to see. I wonder how Kobe's getting on after he stopped Aka, you know. I'm guessing he's made an enemy that day. But yeah, I really want to see Kobe after the Timeskip. That's very exciting, because he's gonna, like the Strawhats, he's gonna get that power up. Do you know what I want? I want to see, like, what I hope happens, right? Because we're going to be basically 2 years training. So nobody in the world's going to hear from the Strawhats for 2 years, right? So I hope that when we come back, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I want to see people that care about, obviously, we know that people know that he's okay because of the newspaper, because he went back to Marineford with, really, you know, we saw Dadan crying and showing the newspaper to the treehouse, like speaking to Ace. But I would love for like people to, you know, the same way as when we get the bounties, when we get the new bounties and like we get to see the reaction of everybody around the world. I want to see people like kind of reacting to like, oh, right, okay, he's back. You know, the Strawhats are back. and they're okay. Now we can rest easy. Like people like Vivi and that as well. Or like, you know, we always go to the East Blue and we go to like Barati and things like that where we see them all reacting to like the posters and stuff. I want to see that. I want to see the people that, you know, the people that love the crew be put to ease, to be like, oh right, okay, they're fine. They're fine. They're back and they're moving again. Oh God. What have we got? Do you know, I was thinking about it and I'm like, I can see, just from our luck, right? I can see us meeting up on Subodhi and bumping into a celestial dragon again. I can see it. I can see it happening. Oh God, don't let it happen. Like, God, you know, I don't know. I don't think, no, in fact, because then like we'd get involved and an admiral would show up again. I don't think it's going to go that crazy. I'm happy to leave it with the Kuma thing. I think that Kuma's going to be the test for the crew coming back, you know, to get the ship. That's what's going to happen there. You know, I'm trying to think of like what other questions I had. Maybe from the war. Going into it. You know, it's what I really want is, like I was saying earlier, more information about the Will of D. You know, they hinted at it. Like I said, they hinted at it with Whitebeard and Roger, and then with Law talking about it. So just give me more info. Just give me more info. You know, Roger started to go and tell a story, and then they, you know, just took it away. Just took it away from us. So hopefully, what I really want is that conversation. I'm hoping that at some point, Oda's going to leave us in the flashback and let us actually hear that conversation between Roger and Whitebeard. You know, because Whitebeard kind of said, it's not you. Like he said to Blackbeard, you're not the one Roger's waiting for. What does that mean? What does that mean? You know, that throws the speculations. You're like, oh right, okay, what did Roger tell Whitebeard? What is he talking about in that sense? Is he just talking about, you know, Roger knew that someone with the name D would be the one to kind of, you know, get the One Piece and like, you know, like, because Roger's obviously set this up because he knew he was dying, you know? So is this all a kind of like, right, someone, because I like that Rayleigh spoke about it too, where he said that they learned about the history of the world, but they weren't ready. So what does that mean? You know, like there's something there where Roger, especially with the fact that he wrote that stuff on Skypiea, you know, on the poneglyph in Skypiea, so it's connected to that, right? And I'm just like, right, what? Roger's obviously, he's playing a part in this where he's kind of like, Luffy, he's preparing, I feel like he's preparing the, like, this for Luffy. Like, Luffy is going to be like the chosen one that Roger is waiting for, like Whitebeard was saying, but what is he waiting for Luffy to do? And obviously that kind of falls into the question of what is the One Piece? What is the One Piece? How is it connected to the poneglyphs? You know, there's stuff there. There's stuff there, and it obviously it's going to tie into with like Ohara and things like that, because they obviously learned about what the ancient kingdom, and like I think that like it's definitely connected, because they mentioned the ancient kingdom and got wiped out, and then when Roger was starting to tell the story to Whitebeard, he mentioned a kingdom. So obviously, the Void Century and the kingdom that they're talking about has something to do with the name D. Right? So it's connected somehow. I don't know how. But I'm thinking maybe like the people with the name D are descendants of people from that kingdom. But what is it about that kingdom that the world government is so afraid of? That's the question. You know? Does, you know, and like, really has this information, really knows about this history and about what it is the government are afraid of, which is interesting. So, how much do like does the rest of the crew know? Was it just kind of like Rayleigh and Roger that he's talking about? Was it like the, you know, the higher ups in the crew, or does like there's like this Shanks, Buggy, Crocus? You know, does the people that we know are members of Roger's crew, do they know about all this? Questions. These are the questions. You know? Okay. You know, like this. Let's just leave it. Let's leave the speculations there. Guys. I don't want to make this video too long. I can't think of anything else that I can kind of throw out there. Obviously, Gecko Moria, right? I don't know where he's going to pop up again, but yes, he's going to pop up again, right? I don't want him to, but we're probably going to bump into him in the New World. Probably going to bump into Moria in the New World somewhere, and it's going to make me so angry. It's going to make me so angry when we bump into Moria again, you know. Crazy. But hey ho, that's probably gonna happen. What I really want to see is like to see how Luffy kind of stacks up against people like maybe an Admiral. You know, after this 2 years, could Luffy fight an Admiral after this training? I'm thinking that might be a bit much still, because those guys are insane. But, you know, I'd like to see that. I'm hoping that at some point as well, like, there's certain characters, do you know that way where with the Warlords, I feel like we're going to get to face Doflamingo at one point, right? We're going to get to face Doflamingo, because with the rest of the Warlords, you can pretty much tell who's going to be an enemy, who's going to be a kind of ally. You know, you knew that as soon as you know, we got to Amazon Lily and you met Hancock, first impressions you think, oh god, right, okay, she's going to be, I mean, but you quickly realised where that was going. Jinbei, ally straight away. You know, it's, you know, Mihawk's that strange one where, like, I've never felt like he was going to be hostile towards us. Obviously, the stuff that happened during the war, fair enough, but I never felt like Mihawk was going to be, like, you know, like a villain that we have to get past. Doflamingo is a villain, and we are going to have to fight him at some point, and I can't wait to see that, because he is one of the most interesting characters in the series. I really want to see us going up against Doflamingo. Yeah, there's been too many things with like all the stuff with Bellamy and his crew and Jaya, and then the stuff on Sabodi where he's the owner of the auction house. We're going to clash heads with Doflamingo at one point, and I cannot wait for it, right? But yeah, that's where my thought process is going into this time skip, guys. Those are the things I want to see. Those are the answers I want for certain things. Yeah, that's where I am. So hopefully I get some of these answers. hopefully some of the things that I spoke about will happen. But yeah, that's where we are. Now, what I'm going to talk about here at the end is, like I said, my favourite jokes or gags through the season, recurring ones, right, that I can remember. Now, I've got to mention ones like, you know, like the recurring joke of Zorro having no sense of direction is great. It's great, you know, frustrating at times. Frustrating at times where I'm like, oh no, Zorro, no, you can't get lost now. Like, this can't be happening. Like, Ennie's lobby, I'm like, no, we don't have time for this. But, you know, it's still funny. They still managed to make me laugh with it. Obviously, Nami being the most powerful person on the ship and just beating the crap out of him. I love it. I love it when Nami just goes crazy and just, you know, beats the crap, like brings them into line. The you know, Chopper being like not being able to hide was funny. They don't do it so much anymore, but I also love his, like, he can't hide that he's happy with like a compliment. You know, like his words don't match his actions. I love that. You know, you can tell he's so happy, but then he's like, I don't care, you bastard. Like, don't say that to me. That's good. In terms of like actual like jokes from the series as well, you know, like as much as I talk about things in Thriller Bark and like how much it dragged in the middle, Thriller Bark had some of the best gags, especially at the start. You know, like Luffy pushing the zombie into the ground, him chasing all these crazy creations around, asking them to join the crew. You know, just something about watching Luffy chase a talking tree and a, you know, unicorn zombie around with a net, telling them to join the crew. That was great, right? There's one that I'd say is probably one of my favourite kind of jokes, if you call it that. And it's stuck with me because I find it so funny. And it was during the flashback, the post-war flashback, and it was young Luffy's lying face. Like young Luffy, you know, doing the whistling, trying to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. That was hilarious, right? That was great. I loved that. I'm trying to think of other ones that kind of stand out to me. Again with Thriller Bark, like the docking was great. That was funny. Seeing you know, like Frankie, Usopp and Chopper being right into it. You know, Zoro and Sanji basically being tricked, not understanding what they were getting into, and then Robin just being like, nah, that is not happening. That was great. That was good. That scenario on Amazon Lily with the golden balls, like I cannot believe that was like that was hilarious. I never expected it to go there, but it did, and that was great. You know, the misunderstandings were great, and then Luffy's reaction to it when they were asking. Yeah, go and pop those out. You know, give us those. What? Yeah, I'd say those are the ones that kind of have stuck with me. You know, is there any more that, you know, I just remember that they're the Luffy and Chopper and Drum bowing to the old woman. Because you have like the hiking bears going past, and like Dalton would be like, oh, right, bow to the hiking bear. And then this old lady, you know, a big coat on, and they're like, oh, bow. Bow. That was good. That's funny. Yeah. I'd say those are the ones that stick out with me. If I were to pick one that I loved the most, it would be young Luffy. Young Luffy trying to lie just was hilarious to me. And it's something that just, you know, those ones that kind of, and I know that's probably one of the more recent ones, but that's just kind of stuck there with me. I really, really like that, you know. So, yeah, those are probably my favourites and the ones that I remember the most fondly. You know, it's a shame. Like, it's a shame with the midsection of Thriller Bark because it has so many funny moments. You know, I think like 3 of the things that I just mentioned are in Thriller Bark. You know. Oh, and in fact, you know what? Again, Brooke. Just Brooke. I love the fact that Brooke is dressed like a gentleman and he's meant to be giving off this kind of like gentleman persona, but then he's like the most rude, like he's farting and burping and then, you know, cutting people off and like asking people for their food and stuff. That's great. You know, he's just, you know, asking people to see their panties. You know, like asking Sanji what his, like, do you have a song recommendation? And then before Sanji finishes his sentence, he just plays whatever song he wants. Like, that is good. I like that from Brooke. He just has this, you know, he gives off the vibe of a gentleman and then he starts talking and you're like, oh, right, okay. Right, yeah, he's the farthest thing from it. I love that, you know. So, yeah, that's it. Those are the gags that have stuck with me, guys. Those are the ones I like. And yeah, that's us. Those are my thoughts, predictions, questions going into the time skip as well. And I think probably next video we'll maybe be getting back into it because I am so excited to see what's going to, like, this 2-year time skip. I just want to see how we come back from it. You know, how they're going to do it. Because, like, I'll probably be comparing it to Naruto. Because that's the other one that is, like, very similar, like, in terms of, like, time scale of, like, a time skip. I wasn't a big fan of how they did it in Shippuden. The way they structured the kind of time skip. I thought it was strange the way they did it. So I'm hoping that One Piece nails it. I really, really do hope they nail it. And it's just a great, you know, it's just great to see this after 2 years. So, yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Everyone that has comes back, watches, comments, likes all these videos. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.